I just wanted to show you what the actual assessment may look like. You're going to be given a picture made up of graphs, a logo maybe, and your job is to find the equations of these graphs. So you're not given the equations and asked to draw it. You're actually given the drawing and asked to write down the equations, including the domains and any stretch factors. So if I have a look at this, I can see two graphs. I can see a graph going up here like this, and a graph going along the bottom as well. And the actual assessment would be really good if you label them, say, A and B, and that way you could write down and refer to A when you're working out the equation for it, and B when you're working out the equation for B. Okay, there's actually multiple correct answers here. Maybe you see this top one, A, as being part of a square root graph, or maybe you see it as being part of an upside down parabola, or maybe you see it as being part of a cubic that goes up across the page. And this lower one, likewise, you could think of that as being a parabola, or you could think of it as being part of a cubic. So there's multiple correct answers for this. Okay, so I'll show you what the actual equations were to make this, and also kind of my inspiration for it. So these are the equations for the picture over here, and I was kind of thinking about the ROG logo. You know, the kind of eye there and a bit of an eye there. You can see with a bit more sort of time, you could make this look a little bit better, a little bit closer. Now I said that there were multiple correct answers for this, depending if you saw this as being this lower one as being a parabola or being a cubic. In this case, I think I did use it as a cubic. I can just turn this on and off. Yep, it was a cubic. A y equals x cubed. I had the domain here, and a stretch factor looks a bit funny, but we'll get to how to work out the stretch factor another day. On the top one, I used a square root graph, and it has a domain and also a stretch factor here as well. So I turned that one on and off. But maybe you saw the top one as being, or this bottom one as being part of a parabola. So I could turn that one off, and maybe we're going to do a bit of a parabola. Doesn't look too different from what I started with. And likewise in the actual test, there are multiple correct answers, depending if you saw it as a cubic, or in this case as a parabola. Maybe you saw the top one as being a cubic, so going up to this point and then continuing on across the page. So maybe you saw it as being a cubic. Okay, it looks a little bit different, maybe a little bit closer to the actual picture, I'm not quite sure. But the point is there's multiple correct answers. It's all about how do you see these graphs? Do you see them as parabolas or being cubics? In any case, you need to come up with your equation, including the domain, and any movement left and right, up and down, and any stretch factors. And that's why it's good to learn about how those things work in the previous 3 videos.